Howdy doody, everyone. We are back. Chapter 9. Ding dong. Chapter 9. Secret Teachings of All Ages. Chapter 9. Chapter 8. Chapter 8. Which Chapter 8, baby? Let's go. Everyone say hello to Carl. Drop some birds in the chat. Let's start off as usual with a little tarot pull. So I'll give this baby a shuffle. And let's let me pull this one out. Okay, that's interesting. This is the card for today. For today. Very interesting. Very interesting. I'm going to leave that over there. Remember, it's just a major arcana. One of the 22. If you say anyone says like 9 of cups or 7 of wands, immediate ban. No, I'm kidding. So, well, everyone's looking green in the chat today. No, none of those filthy paws. But yeah, welcome everybody. Another guy trying to get me to read Blood and Fur. You should read Koi first. It was good. Just volume 6 was a little, but it was fine. It was good. It ended good. It had like a peak, the apocalypse happens and all the friggin' outer gods fight each other. It's great stuff. It's good stuff. Howdy, Kimberly. Ruben, welcome. Bobby, Bob. Ricardo here. We got Tyler, of course. Tyler's guessing number 6, Lovers. Okay, interesting. We got a guess for the Emperor. I'd rather die than read Koi. Hilarious. Now, if you'd like to support these streams, do consider becoming a member or giving a one-time donation via PayPal or supporting me on Substack. Follow me on Twitter. Let's go. Let's just jump right into it. Carl's getting edgy. We need to keep going. We just need to get into this. So we're going to talk about the sun today. Howdy, Big Hole Art. A universal deity. Which is it? Because this is the thing. It's like with universalism, with perennialism, what is the ground? The ground is the consciousness and what we experience. And so there are going to be some universal things that we all experience, unless you're part of a cave. You're like underground. You live underground, literally, like you're part of a hidden civilization that lives beneath the earth. Then maybe your sun worship is going to be a little lacking, but nonetheless, for us, the sun as a deity is somewhat universal. Carl needs reading or blood. Exactly. Have I read Mayrink's Angel at the West Window yet? No. Much better than Oriental web novels. Yeah, I know, right? I'm done with web novels for a while. I'm trying to read, at the moment, a specific book for a specific reason, because I've got some live streams coming up. Oh yeah, by the way, immediately after this, we're all going to hop onto Jord's stream. I think you've all seen the community post. And it's like we gotta get it on. We're gonna go full Atlantis. No one ever goes full Atlantis. Everyone's like, ooh, let's just talk about archaeology because we don't want to say anything wrong. No, let's say all of the wrong things. Let's go full schizo Atlantis. That's what we're going to be doing on Jord's stream. So there's that. Join us there. A little after this. Ricardo's guessing the sun, so we got a sun, we got lovers, we got emperor. Interesting. Try really hard not to fall asleep. Oof, yeah, sorry Kimberly. We put it at that time to try and nab some of the Americans, but we'll see how it goes. Anyway, the adoration of the sun. Let's see what Manley says about the sun. Oh my god, these birds are yapping. The adoration of the sun was one of the earliest and most natural forms of religious expression. Complex, modern theologies are merely involvements and amplifications of this simple aboriginal belief. The primitive mind, recognizing the beneficent power of the solar orb, had pondered the solar orb and adored it as the proxy of the supreme deity. Concerning the origin of sun worship, Albert Pike makes the following concise statement in his Morals and Dogma. A Big Hole Art's guessing the Hierophant. Remember, everyone, we have a tarot card pool. Also, And see, here's the thing, I actually don't really like this modernist perspective. Because a lot of the modernist perspective like this, oh, the sun's there and they worshipped it though, has a materialist metaphysics to it. And if it's not a materialist metaphysics, then it just has to be, oh, they just saw everything spiritual because they were primitive. But there's a more advanced perspective you can take, and that's the panpsychist. Panpsychism is a metaphysics that basically says mind interpenetrates everything. So spirit and matter, or consciousness and matter, are, there's some little tricky mirroring going on of the two phenomena. Consciousness isn't something that just arises as an epiphenomena, and matter isn't just an illusion. They both exist, but there's some odd interplay. And I find panpsychism as interesting when you then look at things like these ancient beliefs, because it's like, then it doesn't have to be, oh, it's just symbolic and they were worshipping it, or oh, it just, everything is an illusion. It's like, no, there is a physical sun, but also it's living and alive and speaks to them. And we've just lost that capacity. Anyway, I'm just rambling. Let's keep going. Pan-gaykism, says Big Hole Art. Well, you know what? Screw you, Big Hole. Screw that, Big Hole. What's your metaphysics, Big Hole Art? Lay it down. Let's see. Now, to them Aboriginal people, let's listen to what Albert Pike has to say. He, the sun, was the innate fire of bodies, the fire of nature, author of light, heat, and ignition. He was to them the efficient cause of all generation, for without him there was no movement, no existence, no form. He was to them immense, indivisible, imperishable, and everywhere present, for the sun would have just been eternal. It was their need of light and of his creative energy that was felt by all men, and nothing was more fearful to them than his absence. His beneficent influences caused his identification with the principle of good, and the Brahma of the Hindus, and the Mithras of the Persians, and Athom, Amun, Thar, and Osiris of the Egyptians, the Bel of the Chaldeans, the Adonai of the Phoenicians, the Adonis and Apollo of the Greeks, became but personifications of the sun, the regenerating principle, image of that fecundity which perpetuates and rejuvenates the world's existence. People don't use the word fecundity enough anymore. We need to fecundate some people's minds. A lot of people say the sun is white now, but I've seen it yellow today. Yes, I guess. I mean, it depends on the weather, I suppose. Fecundate these nuts. Thank you, Tyler. Among all the nations of antiquity, altars, mounds, give me them mounds, baby, and temples were dedicated to the worship of the orb of day. They pondered orbs, guys. These guys were orb ponderers. Giga Chad ancient orb ponderers. Nowadays, we don't ponder orbs, and that's where we went wrong. The ruins of these sacred places yet remain, notable among them being pyramids of Yucatan in Egypt, the snake mounds of American Indians, and the ziggurats of Babylon and Chaldea, the round towers of Ireland, really? And the massive rings of uncut stone in Britain and Normandy. So Normandy in France. So that's kind of still a Gaulish... France had a lot of Gaulish, Celtic energy there for quite a while, so the Irish, the Britons, and the Normans all have that Celtic sun worship, druidic feel. The Tower of Babel, which according to the scriptures was built so that man might reach up to God, was probably an astronomical observatory, perhaps. Our tuition. Sorry I'm late, had to return some videotapes. What are you, in the 90s? Bruh. Also, guess what the card is, our tuition? While you were pondering your life, I was pondering the orb, says Coco. Exactly. You ponder the macrocosm, and while others ponder their microcosm. Many early priests and prophets, both pagan and Christian, were versed in astronomy and astrology. Their writings are best understood when read in the light of these ancient sciences, when the growth of man's knowledge of the constitution and periodicity of the heavenly bodies, astronomical principles and terminology were introduced into his religious systems. The tutelary gods were given planetary thrones, the celestial bodies being named after the deities assigned to them. The fixed stars were divided into constellations, and through these constellations wandered the sun and its planets, the latter with their accompanying satellites. We got some Irish sun temples. Tyler's dropping the links. Outtuition says, feeling the chariot today. Okay, so we got chariot. Well, the other ones, we got lovers. We got a emperor and we got a sun. Sun is very topical, but we'll see. So Outtuition says chariot. Actually, where's Nulu? Nulu's missing. We need Nulu to come in and drop, because he's on a streak. He's on a streak of 2 for 2. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. The solar trinity. The sun as supreme among the celestial bodies, visible to the astronomers of antiquity, was assigned to the highest of the gods, and became symbolic of the supreme authority of the Creator himself. From a deep philosophic consideration of the powers and principles of the sun has come the concept of the Trinity, as it is understood in the world today. Oh, really? The tenet of the triune divinity is not peculiar to Christian or Mosaic theology, that's true, but forms a conspicuous part of the dogma of the greatest religions of both ancient and modern times. The Persians, Hindus, Babylonians, and Egyptians had their trinities. Taoists as well. In every instance, these represented the threefold form of supreme intelligence. Gurdjieff maxing right here, 3 forces. In modern masonry, the deity is symbolized by an equilateral triangle, its 3 sides representing the primary manifestations of the Eternal One, who is himself represented as a tiny flame, called by the Hebrews Yod. Jacob Boehm, the Teutonic mystic, calls the Trinity the 3 witnesses, by means of which the invisible is made known to the visible, tangible universe. Boehm. We're going to do some Boehm maxing one day on this channel. Oh, Coco asks, always thought the Tower of Babel story was how human advancement evolves with our ability to communicate. That's interesting. For example, we went from alphabet to letters to books to phones to computers. Yeah, that's interesting. That's an interesting one. That's an interesting one. I mean, in the story there's always this kind of hubris and reaching up, but it's hard because it's like also that's human nature, to move upwards, and it's like, what kind of tyrannical god doesn't want us to reach the stars? But is it like a tyranny, or is it we're undeserved? But it's like, if it's our efforts, what's going on? What's going on with this demiurge of the Old Testament that doesn't want us? And so towers are interesting as well because they're man-made. Like when you look at a tower as a symbol in the mysteries, towers, mountains, and trees are symbols of initiation. And the reason is you think of humans living on a plane, it's always flat. So we're bound on a plane, but above us is the spirit world, and so what goes up? Well, you can climb a tree and be above and have a conscious perception farther than others. You can do the same thing with a mountain. So, you know, in certain like sects, like in Taoism, they use the mountain metaphor, whereas other places will use the tree as a metaphor for initiation, tree of life and whatnot, tree of knowledge. Whereas others use a tower, and the tower is an interesting one because the tower is artificial. It's systemizing. And so that's the other thing of the Tower of Babel story is if you want to be very esoteric about it, you could say it is a caution against systemization of the mysteries. The mysteries must be something organic, like a tree, something natural and spiritual. But if you systematize it, if you want to go block by block, and it's like, no, this block must be placed here, it can feel restricting and tyrannical, and it's actually a mercy of God to send a lightning bolt to strike it down. Or even that could even be the confusion of the tongues then, because it's like you systematize things so much that it's like people can't even understand each other anymore. It's like, you know, with different branches of philosophy, they just invent new terms, and just, you know, people study Heidegger and other people study Russell and they have no idea what each other's talking about. Or so, you know, someone's studying Deleuze and it's like, what the hell are those Deleuzians talking about? You know what I'm saying? Morale. Welcome. I hunger for the flavor of the sun. Don't we all? Don't we all? Our tuition says secondary guess is justice. Okay. Well, you made your guesses. No one gets more than 2. Big hole moving to justice as well. Okay. Ruben, I don't feel vibes of a card this week. I picked a card myself and also got the sun. Okay. Okay. We need a Richard X Milo Duquette stream. Who's that? We about to lay down some deserved Leo hate. About to. Sorry, I was just going on a tangent there. Oh, Don Milo Duquette. I don't hate the OTO. I'm a bit of a certified Crowley hater. But, like, I appreciate Crowley when he's not going full cocaine mode. Howdy, Necrodancer. Yo. Never build straight up in Minecraft. Kimberly guessing moon or temperance? Okay. Watery. I guess you got that watery theme there. Lon Milo Duquette, yeah. I've literally only read Chicken Kabbalah, and that was like 10 years ago. And then I just haven't been following him. Richard will throw hands with Crowley. He's overrated, but it's like, I get it. Because I came to Crowley late. I read everything else besides Crowley by accident. Like, I read Dion Fortune, I read Barden, I read some Levy, I read Franz Hartmann. I even read Israel Regardie and Frater Akkad before I read Crowley. And when I finally read Crowley, I was like, you know what? I get it. But I read all these other guys, and so I'm just kind of like, it just didn't hit me. But at the same time, I was like, if this is the first thing I ever read, I can see how, like, you know, people who have never read anything would read Crowley, and then 10 minutes in, they just get on their knees and get their slob on. And it's like, yeah, I get it. If it's the first thing you ever read, it seems impressive. But if you get, like, if you max out in a bunch of other stuff, if you go Barden, if you go Dion Fortune, you know, you get a little Gurdjieff in there, and then you read Crowley, it's like, yeah, tight. Yes, the sun and the lion are connected, says Coco. Exactly. Same with the demiurge. That's why the demiurge in Gnostic texts is sometimes called the lion-faced power, which is interesting. Crowley's 0-1 theory is great. Which book is that in? Tell me, I'll do some study. Oh, Schiff Ruben. Or Ruben. Crowley is overrated, but also overhated. You know, I kind of agree. Or I think it's not that he's overhated. I think people just hate him for the wrong reasons. Because they get the propaganda and they're like, human sacrifice. And it's like, no, dude, he was just cringe. It's okay. It was the first for me, Book of Thoth. Okay, read Book of Thoth. I think the first book. Actually, no, I read Theory and Magic ages ago, and then I got the book 4 recently. I throw steel pipe at old water heater in the yard like a javelin, says Necrodancer. It deflected into a parking lot, missing the boss's Mercedes by inches. Miracle. Okay. Nice. Now let's get into some Leo hate here, because the Leos deserve to be hated. Leo of the Sun, from Maurice's Indian Antiquities. The sun rises over the back of the lion. Bringing sexy back, or astrologically, in the back of the lion. There's a lot, because of the internet and like back shots and all of that stuff, I read back and it just hits different. I'm like, Fake Jord? Oh my god. There's a fake Jord? But thank you for becoming an Atlantis enjoyer. Our tuition asks, thoughts on the Thoth Tarot deck? I'm just more traditional. I think the best tarot art that's not Rider-Waite, because I also don't really like the Marseille tarot. Everyone either goes hell traditional or they go hell wacky, and it's like, if you go too wacky, you just become an oracle deck. You're not even tarot anymore. And I think the best is, my favorite personally, is Paul Foster Case's The Builders of Attydom tarot is probably his peak. Unless you go a completely different tradition, like you go Egyptian tarot and then, or Norse tarot, and you get like Odin as the Hanged Man and you do things like that. That's cool. I appreciate that, but you know. Jakob Mendez, Ricky Ruach. Any recommended practices or rituals focused on the new year to read up on? Nah. Fake jaw. To be honest, I'm realer than the real jaw. Damn. Crazy, bro. Crazy. Now, let's get some back shots on these lions. The lion has always been considered symbolic of power and rulership, true? A symbol very similar to the one above appears on the flag of Persia, whose people have always been sun worshippers, or fire worshippers. Kings and emperors have frequently associated their terrestrial power with the celestial power of the solar orb, Lannisters, and have accepted the sun, or one of its symbolic beasts or birds. So, yeah, the sun, lion, or what's an eagle? So like a phoenix. Did you know America actually, originally the symbol was going to be a phoenix, but whenever they did the designs, it just kind of looks like a turkey, and like Benjamin Franklin was like, we ain't putting any of that shit on there, and so they went with the eagle, but it's actually supposed to be a phoenix, is the symbol of America. So birds as their emblem. Witness the lion of the great mogul, and the eagles of Caesar and Napoleon. Fake jawed. This is my alt. My gifted sub ran out. Thanks to whoever gifted, by the way. Oh, okay. Oh, so wait. Fake jawed is real jawed. Damn. Another guy asks, since we going full off topic, is the Tree of Life not a map? How come there are people that seem to travel it as a system itself? And so this is the thing. The Tree of Life has been ossified. When you look at that Sephirotic tree, that's actually not a corruption, but that's supposed to be the tree at the end, after the apocalypse, when it's been perfected. That's not what like actual, Sephirotic Kabbalah was originally like. It was like the Sephiroth used to be all over the place and have different attributes, and you're supposed to like develop that tree. But nowadays people just like have that ossified Sephirotic, or it's like Malkuth, Yesod, Hod, Netzach, Tipreth, Gebura, Chesed, Binat, Chokmah, and Keter, and then the paths in between, and then maybe Darth in there. And it's just like, it's just that, and you travel along the paths like this, and only this, and there's this correspondence, and this correspondence only corresponds to this, and they make it. They've exchanged the tree for a tower. This is the error. This is what is warned against by the Tower of Babel, another guy. Esoteric just finished his early Kabbalah series. Yeah, I've been meaning to catch up on that, because I started watching it and I really liked the Agrippa series he did. That was fantastic. 15 videos on Agrippa was amazing. But the Merkava stuff, I was just like, I'll get to it one day. One day. It's the tree from Elden Ring. God damn it, one day I'm going to play Elden Ring. One day. He finishes it well. Okay. Okay. You're getting me a little bit hard now, Big Holland. I'll have to come back to it. Alrighty, let's get these back shots going. The origin of the Trinity is obvious to anyone who will observe the daily manifestations of the sun. This orb, being the symbol of light, has three distinct phases: rising, midday, and setting. The philosophers therefore divided the life of all things into three distinct parts. Gurdjieff Maxing, Trimazi Kamner, let's go. Law of three: growth, maturity, and decay. Birth, becoming, and death. And in death we become. We find our being. Death is our crown. Death is when we are born truly. Between the twilight of the dawn and the twilight of evening is the high noon of resplendent glory. God the Father, the creator of the world, is symbolized by the dawn. His color is blue, because the sun rising in the morning is veiled in blue mist. God the Son, he illuminating one to bear witness of his Father before all worlds, is the celestial globe at noonday, radiant and magnificent, the maned Lion of Judah, the golden-haired savior of the world. Yellow is his color, and his power is without end. God the Holy Ghost is the sunset phase, when the orb of day, robed in flaming red, rests for a moment upon the horizon line, and then vanishes into the darkness of the night, to wandering the lower worlds, and later rise again triumphant from the embrace of darkness. That's very based, by the way. $10 from Necrodancer. Thank you very much. East Asians called pickle feet phoenix talons. Very interesting. I consumed over a dozen. You know what? Chicken's feet, actually delicious. They're a little bit bony, but they're good. They're good. At the Asian buffet today, based. Lots of octopus. Ooh, nice. That would be, you see, that would be a sick power. But also, good morning, Mock. Or good evening, Mock. That would be a sick power. Everyone's like, I want the, you know, if you get like 3 wishes and you ask for like a power of invisibility or the power to fly. You know what's like a sick power would be? When you eat something, you gain the power of what you eat. That would be sick. That would be sick. I guess there's like that one guy. Anyway. Going, stop getting me on tangents, guys. Bruh. Bogan confirmed. Bogans eat chicken feet? My Kiwi ex used to love those. Is it like an Aussie Chinese thing? I don't know, man. I thought it was just a Chinese thing. If you eat a human, do you gain their skill? I wish. I wish. Or do I? Maybe that's not a good wish. Bogan accent is so attractive. Lol, what? Do people find the Bogan Australian accent attractive? You know what? I'm going to make that a poll right now. Is the Bogan Aussie accent attractive? Yes or no? Start poll. And of course, the answer better be no. Everyone's going, yes, holy crap. Damn. Damn. Oof. Okay, we're evening out. Yes, let's go. I'm on no. I'm on the no side, by the way. Ari man, howdy, Ari man. Richard is a cannibalist? No, I'm a cabalist. If you eat shrimp fried rice, you gain the power to fry shrimp. That's pretty funny. Now. Oh, it's 50-50. Damn. I feel like ending poll right there. End poll. There we go. Some people like it, some people hate it. I hate it. I think I hate, like, lower class accents. Like, you know, the British, like the chav. I don't like that either. I find it funny. Like when someone's like, talk British to me, and they're like, you what? I'm like, no. Give me a posh, give me Mr. Darcy. Order of the Golden Prawn, bro. Everyone's getting Chinese food memes now. That's why I eat the Eucharist, to gain power. Yeah, actually, you eat the Eucharist to gain the power of Jesus. That's interesting. Maybe eating things does give you superpowers. Elitist based. Exactly. Same with American, like, but American, the redneck, because there's the southern accent, doesn't have to be Bogan, though. Because a southern accent can also be an aristocratic southern gentleman, which I actually like more than just a generic American accent. I think the lower class American accent is like the Boston, coffee. I'm like, shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Give me an aristocratic southern gentleman who's like, I did it all for you, Mirabelle. That's the true American accent. You know what I'm saying? You like the slave owner accent? No, I just KFC, okay? Now, to the Egyptians, the sun was the symbol of immortality, for while it died each night, it rose again with each ensuing dawn. Not only has the sun this diurnal activity, but it also has its annual pilgrimage, during which time it passes successively through the 12 celestial houses of the heavens, remaining in each of the 30 days. Added to these, it has a third path of travel, which is called the precession of the equinoxes, in which it retrogrades around the zodiac through the 12 signs at the rate of 1 degree every 72 years concerning the annual passage of this. Every 72 years? That's interesting. That's about a lifetime. Concerning the annual passage of the sun through the 12 houses of the heavens, Robert Hewitt Brown, 32 degree Freemason, makes the following statement. Oh, hello. Acacia Ono. Welcome to the chat. Welcome to the chat. Southern Bogan Chav, all great. Good God. We've got very different tastes in women, Jord. The fuck? He's so good at accents. Nah. Just one-liners. The sun, as he pursued his way among these living creatures of the zodiac, was said in allegorical language, either to assume the nature of or to triumph over the sign he entered. The sun thus became a bull in Taurus, and was worshipped as such by the Egyptians under the name of Apis. So I always found Apis a weird name. Apis. Like, if that was a kid in school, you know he's gonna have a bad time. You know what? West Side Chicago accent, says Ari Man. What's a West Side Chicago accent sound like? A hood accent? Is that what you're going for? Sounds like hell. If this opens to an ad, I'm just going to kill myself. You know what? I should convert to Brave. Oh wait, anyway. Apis. Now, let's just stick with the topic today, guys. Stop distracting me. Doug Dimmadome, peak accent, yes. Actually, yes. See, I used to just use Brave, now I use Opera, so I never needed an ad blocker. It was always inbuilt in the browser. But for whatever reason, I'm using Firefox to as on this friggin' to read this. So I'm like, nah. Whatevs. The sun, Apis. We're talking about Apis, right? Apis. And by the Assyrians as Bel, Baal, or Bull. In Leo, the sun became a lion slayer, Hercules, and an archer in Sagittarius. In Pisces, the fishes, he was a fish, Dagon, or Vishnu. The fish gods of the Philistines and Hindus. That's interesting. So I guess in Gemini, the sun god becomes Incess. Or Twincess. Maybe that's where anime comes from. The age of Gemini. Anyway. Oh, Necrodancer, thank you for the $5. Did you know alcoholism is its own magical practice? AA Alcoholics Anonymous was created to combat these dangerous drunken shamans. Alcohol releases the frontal lobe, so which is the rational part of us. So if you've already got some magical things going, maybe it can kick it in. But it's not full inebriation. It's only if you go a little bit tipsy. Age of Gemini called Tower of Babel. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Beware the power of Al Ghul. Yes, Al Ghul. Alcohol. I know about that one, Necrodancer, but thank you for the 5. A careful analysis of the religious systems of pagandom uncovers much evidence of the fact that its priests served the solar energy, and their supreme deity was, in every case, this divine light personified. Godfrey Higgins, after 30 years of inquiry into the origin of religious beliefs, is of the opinion that all gods of antiquity resolved themselves into the solar fire, sometimes itself as God, or sometimes an emblem of Shekinah, of that higher principle known by the name of the creative being, or God. Sean Power, welcome to the chat. Firefox for no ads. Get unblock origin extension. Yeah, I'll do that later. I'll do that after the stream, and the next stream we'll watch some vids. The Egyptian priests, in many of their ceremonies, wore skins of lions. Yes. So in Egypt, I think they wore leopard skins, actually. Because you see that in hieroglyphs. It's not that we have... I don't think we've found them in archaeological digs, but there's like images of people wearing like leopard skins, right? I'm pretty sure that's a thing. I don't know about lion skins. Light cells can't handle the void, chads. So lion skins, which were symbols of the solar orb. Always remember, you know, Hercules and Alexander the Great have that lion motif as well. Owing to the fact that the sun is exalted, dignified, and most fortunately placed in the constellation of Leo, which he rules, and which was at one time the keystone of the celestial arch. Again, Hercules is the solar deity, for as this mighty hunter performed his 12 labors, so the sun, in traversing the 12 houses of the zodiacal band, performs during his pilgrimage 12 essential and benevolent labors for the human race and for nature in general. Hercules, like the Egyptian priests, there we go, wore the skin of a lion for a girdle. Samson, the Hebrew hero, as his name implies, is also a solar deity. His fight with the Nubian lion, his battles with the Philistines, who represent the powers of darkness. Philistines. I feel like Philistine is such a great insult, like calling someone you Philistine. It's mwah. There's something about it that just sounds derogatory, you know what I mean? And his memorable feat of carrying off the gates of Gaza. Some things never change. They are never beating the allegations. All refer to aspects of solar activity. Many of the ancient peoples had more than one solar deity. In fact, all the gods and goddesses were supposed to partake, in part at least, of the sun's effulgence. Skin Asian, then claim the throne. Got it. Skin Aslan. For a second there, out tuition. I was like, what? Skin the Asian? That's why. Wearing fur is esoteric. Yes. Yes. Winged Globe of Egypt. So this motif you also see in the Middle East, all the way up to Persia. This is the thing, they say the Egyptian mysteries, we all have this Egypt as Atlantis, but there's a lot of Egyptian stuff actually, it's actually Babylonian, Persian kind of connection there. For reals. Samson always came off as a Jewish Hercules. Yeah, pretty much. Could very well be just a Jewish fanfic. Kind of like what's the thing? Lancelot actually doesn't exist in original Arthurian tales. Lancelot is like a French kind of fan creation. And just like a French character would do, Lancelot, sleeps with the main guy's wife, and it's like lol. And then the freaking British try to retcon it, so in later Arthurian stories, Galahad is created, and Galahad is a more perfect knight than Lancelot. And it's like, yeah. People like trying to one-up each other with their OC characters, making their fan fiction the freaking mainline story. So anyway, winged globe. This symbol, which appears over the pylons or gates of many Egyptian palaces and temples, is emblematic of the three persons of the Egyptian Trinity. The wings, the serpents, and the solar orb are the insignia of Amun, Ra, and Osiris. Very interesting. Coco asks, which Egyptian god also had 12 trials of Hercules? It's a similar story, except he goes through these trials on who would be god emperor. Which Egyptian god? I don't know. I don't know, dog. I don't know that much. No grace here. Based, Tyler. Thank you for the 5 gifted memberships. Also, Wesley, what up? What up, Wesley? Also, Outtuition says, Egypt, that kid in class who answers the teacher's questions louder than you after you said the right answer. Yeah, basically. We all have like an Egyptian fetish, but it actually, our real fetishization should be with ancient Persia and Mesopotamia and Babylon and things like that. Zoroastrian prehistory. Exactly, Alpa. Exactly. Also, welcome, Alpa. Alpa K. John. Or is it All Park John? Al Park John. Is that your name? I don't know why I like separated your name in my mind weirdly. I was like, Alpa. Oh, and Necrodancer with another $10. Thank you. Dude, I recommend and request that you dance. I do this myself throughout the day. Dance now. Dance is cool. Don't marry a stripper. Almost did. But was saved by Jesus. Now I'm not going to dance. I'm not going to dance. View deleted message. Al Park John. I'm definitely changing. Okay. Jucules. Oh my god, is that what Samson is? Story of the 12 trials of Hercules was pretty much the same story with Horus going through these trials. Really? I gotta look that up properly. How drunk are you, bro? Necro is always getting it on. He's always getting it on. But I appreciate him for his donations. He's an MVP. Him and Tyler are like the MVPs. Oh yeah. By the way, the card, everyone. I pulled a tarot card before the stream began. We've had many guesses. We had the Sun, which is thematic for today. We've had Lovers, we've had Emperor, we've had Chariot. What were some other ones? Temperance, the Moon. It's Major Arcana. No minors. No minors on stream. So drop your guesses in the chat. And we'll see at the end of stream. We've got a Hermit now. Excellent, excellent. What about Sumer? Been said Abraham learned his essay. I mean, that's the Mesopotamia area. So literally, Sumeria, Akkadia, Assyria, Babylon, Chaldea, Neo-Babylon, Neo-Assyrian, the Medes, Persian Empire. The Persian Empire then goes into Achaemenid, Parthian, Sassanid, and then it becomes Islamic. That area just has some Giga Chad secret stuff going on. Okay, we got Star, we got Tower, Outtuition sticking with the Chariot, Ace of Cups, you son of a bitch. No minor arcana. Okay, Coco also guessing the Tower, so we got a bunch of towers. Man, where is Nulu? Where is Nulu? Track's going for the moon, so I think we got 2 moons. Bunch of towers now, bunch of towers. Okay, okay. This will be interesting when you all see it at the end. All the greys came out. Been really into the staff of Perseus? Her? The one, Asclepius. And its history. Everyone always focuses on the hermetic stuff. Yes, yes. Also, Necrodancer for another $5. Thank you. Hey, you blow me off, but dancing is very giga esoteric. Yeah, and Tower. Okay, so your guess is the Tower. Wesley guessing Hanged Man. I'm sorry, I'm not going to dance, but yes, dancing is esoteric. Very esoteric, especially folk traditional dancers. A lot of them, I find out, they either have reflections of nature in them, or even how they kind of, the masculine and feminine dance, it's almost like some planetary, there's some astrological significance in certain dances. Very interesting. Also, a lot of greys here. Howdy Sean, howdy Arthur Roncato, How the honest Gabe? We've got a lot of people in. How many people do we have in, by the way? Views, concurrent viewers, only 30. Same as usual. Jord guessing the Emperor to a Gurdjieff dance. Have you seen the Gurdjieff dances? They're really weird. Actually, there's stuff like in it. It's very interesting. They'll do stuff where they'll move their arms like this, but one will be going super fast and the other will be going slow. And you're like, you try to do that in your head. You're like, Jesus Christ, that's fucking difficult. It's like one's going slow. They're both making a circle, but one has to go slow and one has to go fast. It's like super crazy. Is Gurdjieff a robot? No, that's just it. He has these like the Gurdjieff movements. When you see them, they always involve moving two body parts, but at different speeds. And it's like you gotta be full. I can understand why Gurdjieff would make it. It's like you gotta be full attention to do it. It's crazy stuff. By the way, the self-observation reading that you put me on has been insanely helpful. No problem, Ari, man. Good Jussie. Can we watch a Gurdjieff dance as a class? No. Also, Honest Gabe guesses the star. Okay, I think we got a bunch. Stars. Stars and towers seem to be popular. Yes, everyone watched Meetings of Remarkable Men, the movie. To harmonize the centers, yes. It definitely harmonizes the centers, and it also brings you to full consciousness because you have to be present for that. I heard Gurdjieff dancers summon UFOs because they resemble sigils. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know about that. Gurdjieff, I don't think he was. Oh, maybe actually. I was gonna say I don't know if Gurdjieff's into UFOs, but then he had a whole book about Beelzebub's tales in a spaceship. So there's me wrong again. Eurythmy. Sengoku Turb mentions that's Steiner's esoteric dancing. You know what I've heard? I've heard if you ever meet a eurythmy teacher, they're always weird. And a couple of people have said to me, if you get someone who can see auras to look at a eurythmy teacher, their auras are always really strange. Like they've got like a big aura, but it's like shaped weirdly. And I'm like, huh, that's interesting. I knew a Steiner kid once as well. I met a Steiner kid at a spiritual retreat once, and he was a guy who grew up in Steiner school, and he was telling me in eurythmy classes his friends would say the F word. Because I don't know if you know about eurythmy, it's about syncing movements with sound effects. And so there's one sound effect that's like, and then there's one that's like, and then there's one that's like, you. And so they would just, in eurythmy class, just these three guys would just go, you, and like just go around just saying F you in eurythmy. And the teacher had no idea. The teacher was like, see, the boys are really into it. Come on, kids. And I thought that was the funniest story ever. Anyway, that's my eurythmy story. That's all I know. Sengoku was your Waldorf teacher, can confirm. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. Can you confirm the FU thing as well? Is that legit? I don't know, because I don't know eurythmy. He told me that story and I was like, that's hilarious. Posted the Gurdjieff. I love how everyone's calling Gurdjieff Gurdjieff now. Like, lol, what? In the TG chat. Actually, yeah, I'll forward that to the main channel as well. Rich, not to derail, but thoughts on Scientology, been visiting Clearwater. Thoughts on Scientology? Scientology, Dianetics was written just as L. Ron Hubbard left the OTO, and he people forget, he wrote that with his second wife, was it Sarah Santhorpe or something, who was a priestess of the OTO. He met her in the OTO and they left together. So it's like, dog, if you consider OTO Rosicrucian adjacent, then it's basically Scientology is basically Western esoteric adjacent, very heavily. In fact, I think you can find the audio online. I'm not sure if you can find the actual footage. L. Ron Hubbard's son left Scientology, but he would go around and he gave talks, and he said his father read him, Aleister Crowley's book 4. He said when he grew up, he started reading a bunch of things, and when he read book 4, he realized he knew this from a child, but even further back in the crib, and he realized that he basically said his dad would come to him as a baby in a crib and would just read book 4 and would just repeat that every night, like would read Crowley to him every night while he was in his crib, to like embed like magical knowledge into like his consciousness, so when he would grow up, even if he wouldn't continue, he would instinctually know magical practices. And it's like, and he had this whole thing like L. Ron Hubbard talking about Scientology, but he said like where Scientology ends, Crowley begins. Crowley is this next, Crowley is the secret thing behind it. Crowley is the true Scientology. It's this thelema, it's this thing. And it's like, oh, and he was saying like the truth about Scientology, and I'm like, holy shit. So basically, I think if you want to know, if you want more than just, oh, it's a cult, go find, I swear it's real, and I swear it's L. Ron Hubbard's son. Go find that audio of L. Ron Hubbard's son. I've never heard the FU thing, but I can see that being the case with older students. I taught kindergarten. You're okay. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was like, this was when they were like 12, 13 or something. Acting like you didn't initiate the Good Jussie wave, Richard. Hey man, I'm just one man. I appreciate it. And also, Necrodance, thank you for another 5. Classes are retarded. Teach yourself. We have the internet. No need for gay teachers. Exactly. But I like you because you are good entertainment and comedian. Thanks. Dude in the same... Jean Dubas said Hubbard was in a morgue too. Okay. Really? That's interesting. Jean Dubas was a legit alchemist, for everyone who doesn't know. I'm looking at Wesley's comment. Jean Dubas was a French guy who started the Philosophers of Nature. I think... I'm not sure on this because I'm not like a Jean Dubas like Giga fan. But I'm pretty sure Frater Albertus came out of a morgue and restarted kind of the physical alchemy movement and started a Paracelsus college. And I think Jean connected up with him, but then was like... went off on another kind of alchemy tangent, because there are different paths in physical alchemy. When people talk about alchemy, they talk about the humid and the dry way, but there's actually like different like actual alchemical theories called things like the acetate path or the Star of Regulus path or the path of the Red Dragon or things like that. And Jean Dubas was like, there's this other thing I want to do, and he started the Philosophers of Nature and went like really deep into physical alchemy. So like, and that's interesting. So if he was in a morgue and knew that Hubbard was in a morgue, that's very interesting, because that's also, a morgue aren't really magic maxes, but they're very mystical, but they're also power of the mind, use the mind to improve your business, and I can kind of see that in Scientology. And so Hubbard absorbing a lot of that stuff, a lot of that, that psychology, that Rosicrucianism, that OTO stuff, Crowley stuff, and then just embedding that and using that as a backbone for his own kind of philosophy is very, yeah, I can see that. Oh, there's a lot of... See, I don't know that much about Scientology, like nowadays. Like, where is it at? Because who's the main guy? Cavendish. After, Hubbard died, Cavendish took over, and then it kind of... after the whole Tom Cruise thing, they stopped being public, and it's just, you don't hear about them anymore. And so, are there lots of breakaway groups? That's interesting. They basically do auditing and interpret it themselves. Okay. Just don't trust Scientologists. Hubbard was interesting as a person, but I'm instinctively sus about Scientology. The thing about Scientology is also remember that Hubbard was a true believer. So whatever you think about him, he wasn't a fraud in the sense that he was giving out something that he didn't believe didn't work. He actually tried to work these things, and he actually kind of, to a degree, believed the things that he was saying. So you can call him delusional, but you can't really call him a fraud in that sense. So there does seem to be something at the base of it, but at the same time, there are lots of cultic characteristics, and from all of the stories you hear, it's like, I wouldn't join. But if you're born into it, you probably got a lot out of it and then left. Yeah. Everyone should learn about Babylon working if they're interested in Scientology. Yes. What's weird is every Scientologist I've met are super friendly and hardworking people, but man, they believe weird shit. Yeah. Jean Dubois was also in Amok. That's interesting. I didn't know that about early Jean Dubois, but I don't know much about Jean Dubois at all. Anyway, on escape, his auto is tightly compacted near his body, almost guarded, highly uncomfortable. Just below his left shoulder is super tight, like a pinching pain, stress feeling. Aura, his aura. Whose aura? My aura? Exactly. We all gotta start our own cults, guys. Oh, okay, thank you, Wesley. So after Albertus died, Jean started the Philosophers of Nature. So that's the... when did Albertus die? Wasn't that like early 2000s? He lived quite a while, didn't he? Like 2001 or something. But okay, that's interesting. That's very interesting. Dave Miscavige, that guy. Yeah, Scientology is bad as New Age stuff. Well, this is just it. It has a strong backbone if it truly does take from all those Rosicrucian and Crowley schools. It's just very, very cultic. Had a friend who grew up in a culture and lucid dreams very regularly. Cool. In high school, during our unit on religious, we had a Scientology speaker give us a talk. Everyone hated that guy. That's funny. Necrodancer, I purchased that book you recommend, Teaching of the Golden Rosy Cross. I already did most of it based just by Catholicism. Yeah, I mean, well, that's just it. Most Rosicrucianism is literally esoteric Christianity. And the whole shtick they have with Catholicism is, at the time, remember, at the time of Rosicrucianism was peak when the Catholic Church was just going off on degeneracy. And so they reformed themselves and did a Council of Trent and all of that stuff. So, yeah, but like... the Golden Rosy Cross, that was their attempt to, like, we need to go back on track, guys. We've got to restore the church and philosophy and redeem the world. Coco says, I heard you have a purple aura. If you have a purple aura, the Archons threw you back on Earth by force. Oh, maybe. Trent, howdy. Thank you for the membership. No problem, Trent. Albertus died in the 70s and 80s. Oh, shit, okay. When did, what am I thinking of the 2000s? Is the Paracelsus College still around, or did that die, maybe? Maybe I'm just thinking of dates for something else. Anyway, way off topic, guys. Let's just get back into it. That was a freaking tangent. Now, golden ornaments. Let's talk about ornaments, guys. Used by the priestcraft, various world religions are, again, a subtle reference to the solar energy, as are also the crowns of kings. In ancient times, crowns had a number of points extending outward like the rays of the sun, but modern conventionalism has in many cases either removed the points or else bent them inwards, gathered them together, and placed an orb or cross upon the point where they meet. Many of the ancient prophets, philosophers, and dignitaries carried a scepter, the upper end of which bore a representation of the solar globe, surrounded by emanating rays. All the kingdoms of earth were but copies of the kingdoms of heaven based, and the kingdoms of heaven were best symbolized by the solar kingdom. In which the sun was the supreme ruler, the planets his privy council, and all nature was subject to his empire. This is based esoteric monarchy, where the solar king rules and his council of planetary advisors. So this is just it. You need like one guy who's Mercurial, one guy who's Saturnian, one guy on the War Council who's like in the position of Mars, one guy who's in charge of like the arts and culture, he's Venusian, and then like one guy in justice who's Jupiterian, and it's like, yeah, and the science guy's the Mercurial guy. The guy in charge of the treasury, that's Saturn. And it's like, that's the Giga Chad esoteric monarchy that we all need to go back to. Return. We've got to become perennialist traditionalists and return to an esoteric monarchy. Unfortunately, the only downside of this is there's no one who's a high enough quality to embody these traits. Like, I would barely make one of the counselors. In fact, I would barely, not even a counselor, I would barely make one of the assistant scribes for like the Mercury counselor or something. Honest Gabe says, you are fascinating, yet I have an appointment. Cheers at all. No problem, Gabe. Hope your appointment goes well. Quadrillions must wish. Yes, another guy. We must all wish. We must not to go back, but to rescue the future from the past. Now, many deities have been associated with the sun. The Greeks believed that Apollo, Bacchus, Dionysus, Zebasius, Hercules, Jason, Ulysses, Zeus, Uranus, and Vulcan partook of either the visible or invisible attributes of the sun. So Uranus, the god of the sky. Everyone else has pretty solar qualities. Zeus is just a sky god as well. Vulcan is more of a chthonic god, but because he's fiery, god of smithing. Hephaestus. Vulcan is also more Roman. This is the Hephaestus, the smith god. So because of the smithing is fire, it also has a solar quality. I think in other traditions, sometimes the sun god is a smith god as well. But... Trex, you'll be the Minister of Culture. You're a Venusian man, Trex? What are you, a Cancer? Or are you a Libra? Yeah. The Esoteric Council needs me. I'll be the Minister of Goth Mummy Milkers. Okay. That's so the Moon Minister, who makes sure everyone is bred. The Minister of the Moon ministers life. The Norwegians regarded Balder, the Beautiful, as a solar deity, and Odin is often connected with the celestial orb, especially because his one eye among the Egyptians, Osiris, Ra, Anubis, Hermes, even the mysterious Amun himself had points of resemblance with the solar disk. Isis was the mother of the sun. And even Typhon the Destroyer was supposed to be a form of solar energy. Really? Really? The Egyptian sun myth finally centered around the person of a mysterious deity called Serapis. The two Central American deities, Tezcatlipoca and Quetzalcoatl, I said them really fast, by the way, just showing you my expertise in Aztec names. And by expertise, I mean literally only these two, and if you show me one more, I'll fumble it so hard. While often associated with the winds, were also undoubtedly solar gods, true and real. In Masonry, the sun has many symbols. One expression of the solar energy is Solomon, whose name Sol On is the name for the supreme light in 3 different languages. Hiram Abiff, the Chiram of the Chaldees, is also a solar deity, and the story of his attack and murder by the ruffians with its solar interpretation will be found in the chapter The Hiramic Legend. We're getting some Masonic mysteries coming up. A striking example of the important part which the sun plays in the symbols of the ritual of Freemasonry is given by George Oliver, Double D's, in his Dictionary of Symbolic Masonry. Damn, Georgie boy. The sun rises in the east, and in the east is the place of the worshipful master. As the sun is the source of all light and warmth, so should the worshipful master enliven and warm the brethren to their work. Among ancient Egyptians, the sun was a symbol of divine providence. The hierophants of the mysteries were adorned with many insignia, emblematic of solar power. The sunbursts of gilt embroidery on the back of the vestments of the Catholic priests or priesthood signify that the priest is also an emissary and representative of Sol Invictus, the invincible sun, or the sun that never sets. Very based. Very based. We're going to get into some juicy Christianity now. Oh, Tyler also a Venus, huh? Esoteric Council wants me to be their top guy. Whoa. That's what I was thinking when he said that. If Venus locked her esoteric beams on me, make Richard read one word created by Gurjusi and watch him fumble. Yeah, hey man. Hey. I'm good at it now. I've had some practice, okay? Now, should I like end the stream, or like I want to get ready for Jords, or should I keep going? What do you guys think? What do you guys think? I'm not sure if you can hear that plane. Got mad plane action going. Save it. Tease us for later. Okay. Good place to stop. Yes. The plane is a synchronicity. A German wizard told me to carve the runes into Adventite greenstone. Continue. You like being edged, don't you? Atlantis Maxing, take a coffee break. I mean, Necrodancer did, like, pay money to keep me going. So, oh yeah, you know what? I'll do this this section here once this plane is gone. Can you guys hear the planes? Because I remember, like, all through the Abyss interview, I was like, I'm so sorry for the planes, and he was like, I don't hear it at all, dog. And then when I listened to the recording, oh, have fun with the stream. Don't forget the card, though. Yes, I will not forget the card. In fact, how about we do the card reveal now? Everyone put your last guesses in before the card reveal. And while you're putting your guesses in, I'm going to read this section. Christianity and the Sun. For reasons which they doubtless considered sufficient, those who chronicled the life and acts of Jesus found it advisable to metamorphose him into a solar deity. The historical Jesus was forgotten. Nearly all salient incidents recorded in the four Gospels have their correlations in the movements, phases, or functions of the heavenly bodies. Very esoteric. Among other allegories borrowed from by Christianity from pagan antiquity, is the story of the beautiful blue-eyed sun god, with his golden hair falling upon his shoulders. Oh, stop it! Robed from head to foot in spotless white, and carrying his arms, the Lamb of God. I did pay money, not for me. But oh shit, $20. Thank you so much, Necrodancer. Jesus, you've given so much today. Thank you, man. Thank you. God, symbolic of the vernal equinox. This handsome youth is a composite of Apollo, Osiris, Orpheus, Mithras, and Bacchus, for he has certain characteristics in common with each of these pagan deities. The philosophers of Greece and Egypt divided the life of the sun during the year into 4 parts. Therefore, they symbolized the solar man by 4 different figures. When he was born in the winter solstice, the sun god was symbolized as a dependent infant who in some mysterious manner had managed to escape the powers of darkness, seeking to destroy him while he was still in the cradle of winter. The sun, being weak at this season of year, had no golden rays or locks of hair, but the survival of the light through the darkness of winter was symbolized by one tiny hair which alone adorned the head of the celestial child. Like, lol, what? As the birth of the sun took place in Capricorn, it was often represented as being suckled by a goat. So I always thought, like, Capricorns are like kind of not Leo wannabes, but there's some kind of like wannabe solar aspect to a Capricorn. Like, the goats that climb the mountain, they always want to be on top. Capricorns, they want to be better than everyone else. They're grinders, hence the grind. You know what I'm saying? At the vernal equinox, the sun had grown to be a beautiful youth. His golden hair hung in ringlets on his shoulders, and his light, as Schiller said, extended to all parts of infinity. At the summer solstice, the sun became a strong man, heavily bearded, who in the prime of maturity symbolized the fact that nature, at this period of the year, is strongest and most fecund. At the autumnal equinox, the sun was pictured as an aged man shuffling along with bended back and whitened locks into the oblivion of winter darkness. Thus 12 months were assigned to the sun as the length of its life. During this period it circled the 12 signs of the zodiac in a magnificent triumphal march. When fall came, it entered like Samson into the house of Delilah, Virgo. Samson enters into Delilah, let's go, where its rays were cut off, and it lost its strength in masonry. The cruel winter months are symbolized by 3 murderers who sought to destroy the god of light and truth. The coming of the sun was hailed with joy. The time of its departure was viewed as a period to set aside for sorrow and unhappiness. This glorious radiant orb of day, the true light which lighteth every man who cometh into the world, the supreme benefactor who raised all things from the dead, who fed the hungry multitudes, who stilled the tempest, who after dying rose again and restored all things to life. This supreme spirit of humanitarianism and philanthropy is known to Christendom as Christ, the Redeemer of worlds. the only begotten of the Father, the Word made flesh, the hope and glory. Very based. Now, let's see. You got your towers. We got tower. You got your guesses. So Coco says tower. Bob, Emperor. We can hear every single sound you emit within a 3 kilometer range. Tyler sticking with 6. Another guy says death. Trex says moon. Big Holart says star. Outtuition still going for chariot, not changing. Sarah, death. Big Holart says chariot. Okay, 2 for chariot. Wesley, hanged man. Sarah, sun or death. Sarah, sun, star or death. Sarah, you got too many, bruh. That's why LeBron the GOAT. Isn't the halo like your memory ring? Like when you die, the ring above you, your head holds your past life memories and essence, also Saturn. Maybe. Yeah. Ariman guesses the hermit. Okay. So, and Sarah, sun, death, star, or judgment. Guess what, Sarah? All of those are wrong. Because Outtuition was right. It was the chariot. It was the chariot. Outtuition, my boy. What were you guessing? What were you, when you thought the chariot, what was going through your mind? What was going through your mind? Like, did the chariot come in? Because it's interesting. The chariot's a bit of a solar thing as well. Like, he's got the zodiac on his belt and he's in his sun chariot, you know, like Apollo. Because I'm always interested. Also, you've just asked, your friend falls in the window for the unofficial excluded star sign Ophiuchus and wanted to know about that. Not a thing. Never has been a thing. Never will be a thing. The 13th star sign is not a thing. The problem is, you want to know a little bit about astrology. When you look at signs and constellations, they're actually 2 different things. If you look at the actual constellations, they're not equal. Some are big, some are small, some overlap, like Virgo overlaps into Libra. Libra is also super small. Pisces is unusually large. When they section the sky off, they call them signs. And the signs have the same names as the constellations, but the signs are actually different. So there's more than just the 12 constellations in the sky. There's 18 main ones all up. And there's a serpent one that's kind of close to the outer ring. Like when you look at the sky as a dome, the 12 and the ring become the 12 zodiac signs. But there's 18, like if you look at the entire sky, there's about 18 major ones. One of the 18, a serpent, is kind of close to the outer ring. And so people are like, 13th star sign. And it's like, no, not a thing. Never was a thing. Please stop. Now, it literally just popped into your head and I felt like the reins in my hand, no jokes, is Outtuition. That's pretty cool. Very interesting. You were receptive. Oh, also Mr. Quaster Hopper gifted 5 memberships. Thank you, Quaster. Also Jeets. What? Also, thank you, Necro, for another $10. Jesus Christ. Reins in the hands. Damn. I told him it was probably TikTok slop New Age nonsense, but I wanted to ask you on his behalf. Yeah, it's basically the 13th sign comes around every now and then. Like, I think because the internet's so big now, it's a more common occurrence. It used to be like every 5-10 years it would be in the news. They've discovered a 13th star sign. It's like no. Now people know about it more, but I think it's like places that are more younger media where you can just put more information or rehash information. I can imagine the 13th sign slop kind of coming in. It's just like, no. 13th sign debunked. Not a thing. Not a thing. A complete misunderstanding of astrology and the technology of astrology. Also, congratulations on getting the chariot, by the way. It was very based. It's very interesting, and you were receptive to what you were given. That's the main thing. Like, it popped into your head and you followed the instinct. Because it's hard, for some of us, we want something to pop into our head, but what if nothing pops in? If nothing pops in, you just got to remain receptive. You can't force anything. Because as soon as you start forcing it, the rational mind gets in and tries to logically deduce or tries to pick up clues, and that it ceases, and because it's active, then you're not receptive anymore. I mean, he did some solo research, and because he's a Sagittarius who would fall in that window, he was confused. Yeah, no, he's a Sagittarius. He's a Sagittarius. Felt the rains, bro. Based. And you stuck to it as well. Everyone else was like switching cards, and you're like, nah. Now, everyone, all the veterans stuck to their cards, which I'm like, yes, good. As soon as you start forcing, the force is not with you. Yeah, exactly. As soon as you start forcing it, it's rape. And the universe doesn't like that. What a way to end the stream. So, guys, thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. Let's all be natural. Let's all be nice. Hop in our chariots and make our way over to George's channel. Akash, good morning. You just joining us now? Well, guess what, Akash? We're going to be continuing this on George's channel. George has an Atlantis stream. We're all going to meet up there, and we're all going to get our Atlantis pills on. Everyone, let's make our way. Let's get strap in, because we're going to deep dive into some Atlantusi. I don't really think you can see Atlantis that well. But anyway, thank you all for coming along. I'll meet you all in George's. I'll see y'all in the next. Also, thank you, Necrodancer, for another $5. I'll see y'all in the next one.